Hi, this is Sportmentary with another face-off, but this time with a new segment. It's our NFL pick segment. Yes, a little late in the season, but the commish who joins me from Winnipeg and I have been working on this segment, and better later than never. Hey, commish.
Hey.
So to give you a little background, the commish started a pick'em league amongst friends of ours. About 12 friends, about 12 years ago, and most of us from the great city of Winnipeg. And he started an NFL Pick'em League, and we've been doing it ever since. And the commish and I have a rivalry that goes back through about, what is it now, commish? 37 or 36 years of friendship, something like that. So it goes well back, and this leads right into a face-off and a head-to-head, where we have a grudge against each other when it comes to sports and it comes to winning.
Especially this year because you're down by 9 games to me.
Yeah, well, I guess a new infant baby would do that, and also trying to work on the site a little bit. You know, that's also like a baby. So yeah, not making excuses, but you know how that goes.
Sounds like excuses.
But I'm taking this segment seriously, so put on your boots, lace them up, and let's go. The first game that we're going to discuss and pick is the New York Jets, who are visiting St. Louis Rams this week. And I'm going with St. Louis. You know, until the Jets can prove to me two things: that they can win, and that they have a credible quarterback who plays for them, I'm not going to take them. They have a quarterback right now who's the red zone interception king. You know, he loves it. He loves the drives, and he loves throwing the interception when they need touchdowns the most. So no, I'm not a Mark Sanchez fan. I'm not a Rex Ryan fan. I'm not a New York Jets fan. And all this anonymous talk to the media about Tim Tebow this and Tim Tebow that. I think it's all a bunch of hogwash. They're gutless. They're a gutless team. They're spineless. They're an embarrassment, New York Jets. At least New York has one team in the Giants, so who's credible and good. Not the Jets. So that's what I have to say about that game. St. Louis has a half decent defense, or at times have been pretty good.
Okay, your time's up.
They're at home. Did I say they're at home?
Your time's up. Can I speak?
You may.
I'm going to go with the Jets.
Uh-huh.
And your hatred of, I would say hatred, but your disdain for for Mark Sanchez and for Rex Ryan clouds your judgment in this one. I didn't do too much research, but I did enough to know that New York's 6th against the pass on defense. So I think that Sam Bradford will have a tough time, because if he has to rely on Steven Jackson, who only managed 100 yards last game, that was his first 100-yard rushing game of the season, it's going to be curtains for St. Louis for that reason.
You know what stats? What are stats for? Anyway, go ahead.
For guys who are ahead of you in the overall picks.
No, stats would have said that they should have lost to San Francisco, and they tied them last week. So much for defense.
No, that's why you play the game. You know, sometimes things happen, and
yep.
You know. Anyway, my other point was that Rex Ryan has endorsed Mark Sanchez. The team seems to be behind it.
Yep.
Had they gone with Tim Tebow, I would have gone with you and sided with you begrudgingly. But I think New York's going to pull up an upset. Oh, the other thing I found out, they haven't lost 4 games in a row since something like 2007. They're not going to do it this time. I'm right, you're wrong.
I guess we'll see. And you're right, I am consistent about one thing. I am consistent about my dislike for the Jets. Anyway, next game. This is a tough one, and everybody, please pay attention as far as sport is concerned on this one. And we'll tell you at the end of the podcast why this game is important, because we have a special feature at the end that makes our pick'ems a little different. So Philadelphia at Washington. And I'm going to take Philadelphia. You know, there's a change in Philadelphia this week, and that is a new quarterback. And I'd like to see how that new quarterback works in the system and see if there's anything different than Michael Vick, who a lot of people criticize for not working on his skill set. That's a quarterback skill set, not a running back skill set. You need a quarterback skill set when you're a quarterback in the NFL. And so I just want to see if this helps. Washington, terrible team. They have a bright star, up-and-comer in RG3. Good for them. We'll have to wait till next year. Both of these teams have basically bowed out of the season. So it's kind of a wash. But I say Philadelphia. They're desperate for a win, that team. This is one that's working all into going to Washington, a divisional rival on the road, and a loss, right? That's what people are thinking. I'm not thinking that. I'm picking Philadelphia.
Well, once again, I have to disagree with you. For all the reasons you just supported your pick, I could use against you. One, Michael Vick isn't playing. That there's no chance that this rookie is going to survive against Washington. No chance. RG3 is a far superior talent, also a quarterback. I think he'll get the job done.
But he has to this year. I mean, we know that rookie quarterbacks always have losing records. Anyway, I just wanted to throw that in there.
I don't think that the fact that, but they're playing Philadelphia, who's got a porous offensive line. Their defense seems to be almost like Swiss cheese out there. And I can't see them stopping. The only way they're going to stop RG3, I think he's going to run them into the ground. The only way they're going to stop him is if he gets knocked out with a concussion or something.
And he has this year already. I mean,
I know. Well, that's what I'm saying. I guess there's always a chance. But plus,
hope for that.
Washington's playing at home, and I just think Philly's checked out for the season.
So Washington. Their coach even checked them out 2 weeks ago.
He just didn't use proper.
Yeah, it was coach speak for. We're not making the playoffs, and I'm looking to see who's going to last on this team. Seriously.
So they know they're playing for their jobs. He threw it out there. They're playing for their jobs.
Well,
I know that now.
I guess we'll see. So is Philadelphia. Every player, including Andy Reid. At this point, Andy Reid will probably be fired, but at least let him win a few games on his way out. All right.
I don't think it's the same thing in Philadelphia as in Washington. Washington's got a future right now. We talked about this earlier in the week. Washington has a future with RG3 at quarterback. Philly has a decision to make. Do they keep Reid and Vic, or do they go to the future? Washington's gone to the future. They know the future.
This is why sometimes teams win in these situations. I mean, everything's pointing, as you say. First of all, I don't think this is a gimme game. But
is this your mulligan game? Is that what you said?
Well, we're not talking about that yet. Remember?
All right.
I don't know what you're talking about, but anyway, this is a tough.
Time's up. Let's move on to the next game.
I'm just saying, it's a tough game. Everything's pointing to Washington. We'll see what happens. Another really tough game. Indianapolis at New England. And I'm picking Indianapolis in this game. We're talking about young stars, and we're talking about bright futures, right? And we're talking about Indianapolis. Their guy named Andrew Luck. There's been no rookie quarterback to have a winning season in his first year. Hasn't happened. Last I checked, Indianapolis is 6-3, and he's on his way. Tough game against New England. Not a divisional rival in the true sense, because they're not, but they were once in the same division. Remember that, not too long ago. So there's a rivalry there. New England's tough at home, granted. Last week, though, this team is barely winning. There's a lot of problems on their defense. Tom Brady's great, and Luck's great. They're not playing, at the same time, so you got to eliminate that. You go look at the defenses. Indianapolis a little better. This is a very surprising team in Indianapolis. I think that they go in there and they shock the world and they beat New England.
Wow, you're drinking that Andrew Luck Kool-Aid. I got to say, of all these athletes that came out with, they've come up with hype, and this guy, I will agree, he deserves the hype. He's living up to it. He's actually seems like a respectable young man, someone that deserves the success, not like some of the other punks like Cam Newton, who is also living up to his bad reputation. But that's another story. Anyway,
Yeah.
fact is, I like Luck, but I think his luck's going to run out against the old pro and Tom Brady. And I don't really know that there's much to discuss about this other than, Luck has not played against New England yet. He doesn't know the magnitude of this rivalry. Tom Brady does know what it is to what it means to beat Indianapolis, and I think they'll go in.
Yeah, that's a good reason why Indianapolis can eke this one out, because he's not clouded by a rivalry in that. He doesn't have that experience in what it means. It's just another game, and a game to go out there and build his resume. So anyway, once again, we disagree, of course. That's why I picked these 4 games this week, because I knew we'd disagree on these 4. And the last one, and we talked prior to coming on the segment, this is another tough one, and so I'll pay attention to this. Chicago at San Francisco. Now, I am going with San Francisco. Why? First of all, they're a good team. Good defense, good all-around team. Chicago's without Cutler, but let's go back to San Francisco and the fact that they tied last week. And that to San Francisco was a loss. To them, it was equivalent to a loss. A lot of really dumb things happening out there on the field. They were actually very lucky to come out with a tie. If it was for not 1 but 2 time count violations on the overtime drive against St. Louis, they would have lost that game. There's no way that team should have even tied. So to them, it's a loss. And San Francisco, I might be wrong. Look up your stats. I don't think they've lost twice in a row. So I'm going with San Francisco. Now it's up to you. Why Chicago, dude?
No, listen, I'm a Bears fan. I'm a big fan of the defense. And defense wins championships. This defense has got this Bears team to a 7-2 record. And they should have beaten Houston last week.
They scored 6 points.
That's but Houston only got 13, and Houston's.
And that was and Cutler wasn't there for the second half. That's
exactly.
He's not going to be there again.
Yeah, but you know what? I've seen Jason Campbell. If it's Jason Campbell starting, he played well in Washington sometimes, and I don't think it's not like you're getting a rookie. I say he outplays Alex Smith, who is hurting.
Yeah.
And I think the difference will be that it's a coin flip, this one, because
it is. This is an extremely tough game, and Campbell first game on the road. Cutler's been hit a lot this year, and so we expect to see Campbell hit a lot. We'll see how he takes it. I mean,
I think Campbell's more durable than Cutler. I could be wrong.
We'll have to see. I mean, Cutler's a tough guy. What is it? The rib of fear.
Now you're on the Cutler bandwagon. You were.
No, I'm not on the Cutler bandwagon. I'm just saying, here's a guy that apparently his rib, they found out, what is it? Just a little bit away, could have pierced the aorta?
No, that's not Cutler.
Well, I got the wrong guy.
You're thinking of Roethlisberger. Come on.
Oh, yeah, I guess I do. He's another tough guy, though. But Cutler.
That's confusing Roethlisberger with Cutler.
But I believe that Cutler, his concussion is more severe than they want to let us know. That's all I'm saying. And so you got a team that's now solely defensive minded, right? They're going to really have to try and have Forte run the ball a lot more and hope that there's success there, because I don't think they're going to pass it down the field willy-nilly.
Well, I think San Francisco's just as close to having to start their backup quarterback. Should he take even one hit as it is for Campbell to get the start for Chicago.
I'll tell you one thing though. Alex Smith apparently threw a touchdown with blurred vision. He was concussed. So Even a concussed Alex Smith can probably help them win the game. Well, anyway, I apologize for the Ben and Cutler mix-up. God, I wouldn't want to put Ben in the same breath as Cutler. Seriously. Anyway, that's my mistake. Yeah, Cutler with a concussion. Severely concussed, I believe. Anyway, that's a toss-up game, which leads us in to our mulligan piece. And, the commission and I were talking this week, and we're like, through the years, we've had games, or even certain teams actually, that we just can't get it right. Hey, commission, there's those certain teams.
I don't think I've got a Cincinnati bingo game right the whole year. So
in some years it was Tennessee, remember? In other years, what Jacksonville would win maybe 40 or 50% of the game was Jacksonville, Buffalo.
Kansas City's always been tough for me.
Kansas City, it's, some teams both of us have had a tough time with. And there's some weeks, in those years that we were really close. I mean, it's most years. You and I, maybe one other person thrown in the mix or two, are at the top. 1 or 2 games separates us. 1 or 2 games is huge, right? So those games that you get wrong, you want to take a mulligan, right?
That's right.
You can't do that. It's not part of the rules of your league, commish. I don't think you'd institute it. Not really fair. But those games, if you say, I get 1 mulligan a year, well, how could that have helped us win the cup, right? So what we did is say every week we're sure there's going to be a game, probably even more than a game, but you get 1 mulligan, right? The 1 mulligan, the do-over. Mine is the New York Jets at St. Louis. This is a toss-up game to me. This is a game where, geez, which Jets is going to show up? Which Jets team? Which Rams team? It's just confusion out there.
So you've picked. So that means now I cannot pick that game as my mulligan.
You cannot pick that game as your mulligan
because you got the first choice. You won the coin toss. So now I have to pick my mulligan.
Right, and I think I know what's going based on your comments towards the end.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna go with my mulligan. I'm gonna place it with San Francisco, Chicago, because that game's a toss-up. We don't know who the quarterbacks are gonna be 100%. Well, we know Campbell's starting. We just don't know if Smith will make it through the game. And those defenses are probably equal, so it might come down to who rushes who, Forte or Gore. So, yeah, I'm putting my mulligan on. I'll take the San Fran game.
All right, and these are two probably really, if you look at it, two of the toughest ones. You flip a coin. We get a do-over this week. Now here's a little twist. I think you and I were talking about this before we went on today. The other twist of this is whoever wins this head-to-head this week gets to choose the 4 games for next week. And people think, well, what's the big deal with that? I say the big deal is, and that's because we know how we're doing in our pick'em. We know which teams seem to win. Which team we seem to have a little better feel for, right? When we pick these things, right?
Yeah.
The close games, sometimes we know. How do we do in the close games? There's certain things that we have our feelers out there for. So this week I picked the 4 heading into it. And now every week, whoever wins those, the mulligan counts, don't forget. That was the twist. The mulligan counts. We can reverse. On that one game, we get to reverse it if we were wrong. But whoever comes out ahead on this gets to pick the next games. If it's a tie, commish, you get to pick.
Wait, so if we both get the mulligan game.
If we tie. Basically if we tie. All right? You get to choose next week's games. And that's how we're going to do it every week. It's not just because you won the previous week, you get to do it again. No, the onus of you winning a week is that you should continue to win a week. I picked this week. It's not a win, but if I don't win outright, including the mulligan, I don't get to choose the games. You do. So, in your case, you have to win or tie. You get to choose the games. That's how we're doing it. And, good luck to you.
Oh, well, good luck to you. You need it.
I always need luck, yeah, when it comes to this stuff. But we'll
All
see.
right. Well, I'm looking forward to tomorrow. And
I am, and I'm sure I'll speak with you in and out of those games. Anyway, thanks for joining us this week, Commish, and we will see you next week.